ahead and start the recording. Want to make sure that it's that. And then, all right. So here we go. Good afternoon, guys. My name is Claudio, and this is Christian from Santiago, Chile. Let's make a formal introduction from our listeners from the studios in Fairfax City. We are very humble and grateful that PFM accepted our invitation to our show. PFM is an Italian progressive rock founded in 1970. They were the first Italian group to have success international. The group recorded 5 albums in English lyrics between 1973 and 1977. During this period, they entered both the British and American charts. They have been very successful in European and in American tours, and especially in South America as well. Benvenuto allo spettacolo.
And Japan as well. In Japan as well.
In Japan as well. That's beautiful. Yeah. So how are you guys doing?
Fine.
We're fine. We're here in Milan, and for us it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Correct.
So, I guess it's a lot ahead of you.
Yeah.
I'd rather be where you are because there's probably sun over there. Over here is like that.
Here is 12, and in Santiago, Christian is 2 p.m. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yes.
Correct. So with everything that's been with the weird year for everybody, how you guys doing with the pandemic, and then how it's affecting your creativity now that you cannot tour, and are you guys working on new material, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Fortunately, we are working for a new album now, so we are stopped doing concert. I mean, we can go around because there is a COVID, but we are working on the studio. So we are working also we are working anyway.
Yeah, we work, obviously, it's not that easy, because we can't really move the way we would like to and things like that. We all are in the same situation, so we can try to do our best. But the album is coming out great, and so we're very happy about it. We see each other almost every day, and at my place, we had a small studio, a home studio, say, and then we'll go to a regular studio. We did all the basic tracks already, music already. So now we are working on the lyrics and the voices. So it's not a couple of months and it'll be finished.
That's beautiful.
We don't care about the pandemic because we are working. So we are with the mind. We are not engaged.
Yeah. No, but the fact that you guys can see one another frequently and during the weekend go to the studio, start recording, that's great. Other bands, they don't have the opportunities, right?
Yeah, right. It's this is the way it is. How you can do, there's nothing you can do about it, so let's try to all do our best, work the right way, and try to get out of this thing as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Any of you were born like in musical families at all?
What? Sorry, come again?
Any of you were born in a musical family where you're either your dad, your mom, or your sister, brother play instrument?
Somehow, many of us did. Franz did. Franz, his father was a oboe player.
Oboe player, yes.
Yeah, oboe player, and not my family. No, there's no musician in my family. But like Marcus Foglia, our guitar player, has his mother and his father, which are musicians, very well-known musicians too in Italy. Alessandro, our keyboard player, has his father plays piano too as a professional. So it's yeah.
That's great. Yeah, go ahead, Christian. We'll go back and forth between the two of us.
Well, hi. First of all, it's an honor. It's an honor to say hello from Chile after so many years listening to your records, essentially on a radio station where I had the good luck to be part of in the 80s, but they began playing Cook and all those records back in the late 70s. So thank you very much for the music that you made for us and you keep doing. That's number one. And then I have a few questions, as you might imagine. One of them is, give me a second, please. I'm going to begin for latest things. Emotional Tattoos contains several like 4 or 5 minute songs where I feel the band sounds almost like a band from the so-called neo-prog rock bands of the 80s. Like, was your intention to reach younger audiences and cut off the longer pieces in any manner? I love the album, by the way.
Yeah, we never think about those things, when we do a record. We just play what comes to us, what we feel at the moment. And if you listen to all the albums of PFM, there's not one album like the other. All the albums are different. Everything is different. This is because we never thought that, oh yeah, we're going to do this because then if we do this, maybe we'll reach this kind of audience or this kind of people, or maybe the record we did, last record we did had a pretty good success with, so we're going to do an album which sounds the same way or things like that. We never did that. We always did the music we like at the moment, what we care at the moment. And I think this is the reason why after almost 50 years, we're still here, because we're not constrained, we never constrain ourselves to do music the way it should be done, let's say. But we just do it the way we'd like to do it at the moment. For example, the album we're doing right now at this moment is totally different. That Emotional Tattoos, very, very, very different.
Because our crowd, our followers know exactly this is one of the principal way to play for PFM. Change it always, because to search, to research, to invent. That means that you are growing, always growing. But if you stay in one lane, just this is progressive, so I play progressive for 50 years. It's not impossible. If you play every kind of music for forever, it's not the same. We like to grow up and change, because if you change, you have more things to do and more things to play.
Okay. Now, I forgot mentioning that I spent a long...
And also the people doesn't know exactly what we are doing, so they expect all the times the changing of PFM.
Yeah.
We did everything. A lot of our albums talk and speak for us, for our way of to be musician.
Yeah, I have to say that when I saw you here at the Teatro Corpartes, you might remember that back in 2014,
yes,
I guess.
Yes.
I was really amazed to see the energy and how people receive the show. So after all, these radio shows here and there have been doing something good for the bands. I remember I forgot mentioning that I worked on Radio Futuro for some years, from 1989 until 1996, and I had the chance to play whatever I wanted, and I did play several tracks by PFM. It wasn't a pop station, it was like a prog fusion, avant-garde station. And I want to mention you some of my favorites that I obviously play there, like Photos of Ghost, Il Banchetto, is that the way to say that? Dolcissima Maria, what a fabulous story. Maestro della Voce was a real hit, so I was surprised when I saw you playing that live. And Via Lumiere, I really find it very special because it's so dense in the development, but then the last 5 minutes are so beautiful and simple. So it's like a contrast. It's maybe you don't like to analyze the way you make music, but to me it was even close to the Beatles, like Hey Jude, the final song, the final part that repeats over and over again. It's a very beautiful ending. Do you have any special impressions about any of these songs?
As I said before, yeah, you said it. You said I had the opportunity to play whatever I want. This is what you just said about your work. Exactly what we do. Yeah. This is exactly the same. We play what we like. Yeah, we have exactly the same approach. So we never analyze what we do. We just do it because we like it, and we leave other people to analyze it. It's always like that. Most of the time, it's like that. You never, when you do a record, or you are a very pop artist, So you do a record because you want to reach some things, and you want to go to the TV, and you want to do this, and you want to do that, and there's an aim. You know, you are aiming at something.
Yeah.
We're not aiming. We never aim at anything. We just aim at playing music. This is all we do, you know. So those songs you were saying before were the song of that moment, that particular moment. And if you listen to them, they have a line under them, you know, which they are. You can tell they from the same album, you know, because they are from the same moments, from the same. A little different is Maestro della Voce. Maestro della Voce came a little after. And you can tell on the record of Maestro della Voce, you know, all the songs are of that moment, so that particular moment. And it's always like that with PFM. This is what's great to play in this band, you know, because each time we say, okay, let's start a new album. No one of us know how it's going to be until we start and until we start working, you know.
Yeah, the little frame. I want to sing a little frame. Just the way, that's the way I like it.
Yeah. So you never had any pressure? Sorry.
That's
you
the
never
way
had
to do that. You know?
Yeah, you never had any pressure, I assume, from the record companies in Italy, in America. Asylum, I think, was the record company.
Yeah,
At the time, yeah.
At the time, yes.
Manticore, yeah, okay. Oh, but
Manticore in England.
Exactly. Was there ever a Maria? Is Maria real?
I'm sorry?
Maria, Dolcissima Maria, does she exist?
Dolcissima Maria, yeah. Okay, we never really had any pressure. Sometimes record companies, they want to make money, you know, they want to sell records. Mm-hmm. So at a certain point, PFM was doing very well in America. We had a record in the charts and things like that. So the record company was expecting us to do a new album, which was very similar to the one we just had done, you know, and which was going very well. And you know what we did at the moment? We did the jazz album. We did Jet Lag, which is a very difficult album. And obviously we didn't have the same results. But the record company may have been right that if we had done a record which sounded like the one before, we would have sold more records. But who knows if today we would still be here, still be playing, still can't wait to go on stage, because it's always like that. This is the story of PFM, you know. PFM just want to play. We did over 6,000 concerts in our career, and we can't wait for the next one. This is because we just play what we care, what we want.
We always say, used to say, always the next album is the best. The best is what we have to do, the next one, not what we printed the ones before, you know. I mean, the next album is the best.
Yeah, and I have to say that we never really had pressure. We just, you know, you could tell that the record company were trying very, very carefully to tell us that maybe it would be great if we had another song like Celebration or like this or like that. But we never really had pressure.
Yeah, we don't like to do the imitation of PFM. We want to be PFM.
By the way, I wanted to mention that Celebration was used as a music background for a football segment of a news report back in the 70s here in Chile. It's very funny. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, I don't know the association they did. I have another question here. How close have you or other band members been to other rather very popular Italian bands? Some of my favorites are Goblin, Neutrals, Banco, Gli Alluminogeni, that I think are newer, Locanda delle Fate, I really love. Has there ever been like a community? Do you ever interact?
Well, they all are friends, you know. We never, PFM is together for 50 years, you know, so we didn't have really long time, any time to play. The only guy who had something to do with another band was me with Aria. You know, when I did the first record of Aria, and I started the Aria story, and then I joined PFM. That's about the only time we had to do, one of us had to do something with another band. If not, we never had any musical communication with anybody. They're all friends of ours, obviously.
Yeah, we are all friends, but sometimes it happens that we play in a big concert as a Prague exhibition in Italy, in Rome, was a few years ago, and we meet all together because it was a big festival. Some festival we meet, but everybody has his way of life, and just we are friends,
Mm-hmm. Now, Storia Di Un Minuto launched PFM into stardom, so to speak, being famous internationally. Do you feel that there are other albums in your long story that you feel became milestones or that were meaningful? Well, all of them are meaningful, I know.
Yeah. Well, Cook was definitely a very important album.
Yeah.
Very, very important, because Cook gave the idea of what PFM is. We are I hate this word, but like a progressive band, and most of progressive band writes everything they play. Everything is written. It's like a music. It's like classical music almost. And PFM is very different. We do write things. We do write arrangements and everything, but we improvise a lot. So what Cook gave to the audience, especially in America, was that a progressive band can improvise a lot.
As the jazz players.
And that was the very important thing of Cook. Cook has at least 25% of it is improvised.
It's surprising. It's surprising. I am not a musician. I'm just a music fan. I thought that the concept behind progressive was to always progress and never know really a clear way. But it's my impressions. Yeah,
you're right. You're absolutely right. This is exactly the way we think, and this is the way we bring ourselves. But most of the time, when people think about progressive music, they think about the way it was in the 70s, and those things, written and everything, this sort of classical stuff, and this is not what we think, If today you play music like that, it's not progressive, it's regressive, maybe, because it's music of 50 years ago, 45 years ago, So this is the way so I think this is what's very important with Cook. Cook really gave the exact picture of what PFM is.
And what about your relationship with a very dear musician to everyone? I had the great pleasure of working with him. I was their interpreter, Emerson Lake and Palmer. What about Greg Lake and Pete Sinfield? Those days becoming, singing in English and reaching overseas audiences. Do you have any special memories about these Manticore years and memories of Greg, especially?
Oh, we had a lot of things in our mind. We was very close with Greg and Pete, of course. Pete, because he wrote our lyrics, and with the lyrics of Pete, the PFM start to fly. Because the lyrics was fantastic, and the album was Photos of Ghosts, and we did a special work with him because he has clear ideas with us. He loved PFM because it's more hot as a band, more Mediterranean band, and so he gave to us a lot of his experience with King Crimson, and make us grow up very, very quickly. And Greg with us was very like a brother, He fell in love with PFM when he went in Rome. We played the concert together. He was coming to see the band because he was founding the Manticore, and they needed the band and musician to put on the label. And so he came in London to see with his eyes PFM playing, because he received from our manager a special cassette where we played 21st Century Kids and Men. He was so impressed about this cassette that he says, I want to see the band. And he came in Rome, come to see PFM, and he was so surprised. And at the end, they started to make a jam session with us. I would like to have, unfortunately, I don't have, but I would like to have this tape with Greg playing with us, a big session.
Wow.
In a style, as Patrick said before, in a style of the album we did Cook, you know, and the same style of Cook. We did a big jam session with him. It was fantastic. Yeah. And he signed the band, and all the rest is a story.
Yeah, we played with them once at the Charlotte Speedway Festival in the States, in Charlotte, and it was very, very large concert, like 280,000 people, something like that. You know, it was very, very, very large concert. It was great. And we were very good friends with Keith Emerson too. Keith Emerson was a big fan of PFM, and we always were very honored by his interest in the band, you know. But Greg is the guy we saw most of the time because he was the one taking care of the label more than the others.
Well, thank you. Could you ever meet, talking about people that maybe were relevant or are relevant in your work, Robert Moog? Because, you know, there's so much Moog in the music of PFM, and we really love that. Maybe you met Mr. Moog sometime, I don't know.
No, unfortunately, we never did. But especially in Italy, you know, we were the very first song we did was Impressioni di Settembre, had a very important Moog motive inside, and through this song, Moog, the mini Moog, became a very popular instrument in Italy. So we had a very special story, but it was more like with the distributor for Moog in Italy, that from Mr. Moog, Robert Moog, you know, that we never met.
Okay, Claudio, what's the
Yeah, so I did have the opportunity. Thank you very much. I did have the opportunity to listen last night to Per Un Amico, Le Sole di Niente, Storia Di Un Minuto. Oh, those are fabulous. Those are classic, you know, music. At the time when you guys were putting that together in the early 70s, were you in contact with or you admire bands like King Crimson of Genesis that help you develop your own style, your PFM style? But I see influence.
Well, you know, it was the beginning of an era.
Yeah.
And those bands you're talking about were they were the actors of that era, you know, because first of all, they came from England, which was at the time, and which is probably still is for certain things, which was the birth of music at the time, you know, the new music, especially music like progressive music, because if not, there was pop music or very easy music, easy listening music, you know. And for the first time, like Emerson and Palmer and people like that came out with this great music. And we were good musicians at the time. So when we listened to this music, we said, hey, man, maybe the time has come that we can do a band playing what we have in mind.
What we like.
And that we never did before, because if you did this sort of music, it just wouldn't work, you know. So this was the start of the whole thing. And but we were not really influenced by those bands, because we are very different. As maybe sometimes some things here and there.
Let me tell you something. The first time that Genesis came in Italy to play, they was not so unknown, you know, so famous because they start, and so it was the first time, and we played together in the same show, you know.
Oh,
wow!
And I can remember just things. I usually at the time I play drum, and I have just one song that I sing, not playing a drum. And it's Dove e Quando, because there is not a drum, so I came out and I sing that song. And what happened, that when the Genesis came up after hours, because we opened the show and afterwards the Genesis playing the second part of the show, I saw that the drummer came from the drummer, he came inside and sing just one song, because they have a song with no drum. I go to this guy, this was Phil Collins. I didn't know him. I say, hey, I'm Franz, if I'm Phil, and say, oh, you, nice your song. I said to him, he said, oh, your song is nice too. You should sing more, Phil. You too should sing more, you know. Amazing story, because what happened, that the drummer can play and can sing. And so there is not, was just a case of in that concert. It's a combination that we meet at the time, and both of us play and sing, you know.
Is there anywhere that recording at all? Somebody tape it or
no?
No, at the time with cassette or no?
At the time, there is no that chance.
No recording, no photos, nothing.
No record, no photos, nothing.
When I think about what happened, since the cellular phones and things like that, everybody takes pictures of everything. But at the time, if you didn't have a camera, a heavy camera and everything, you couldn't just take pictures, So there are very, very few pictures of many, many things which happened to us. Yeah. And it's a shame in a way.
That would be beautiful to capture.
That. 2 days ago, a friend of ours sent to us a photo, and there is Patrick, and there is with Emerson, Lake and Palmer. We never saw that. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
25 years later, we can have a photo.
Yeah, sure. I love, by the way, the outfit with the purple, with the two jackets and the flowers in the back. Yeah. It's beautiful you're saying. I'm glad. What was the reason, and there was any pressure to sing some album in English?
Not really. We were supposed to sing in English because the PFM was becoming an international band. Yeah. And English is the language. It's the language you want to sing. So we had to. It was not that easy for us, especially at the beginning. Now maybe things are a little better, but at the time it was not that easy. And but what happened is that many times, especially in South America, for example, people rather listen to us sing in Italian. Yeah. They prefer when you sing in Italian than when we sing in English. Somehow. So many times in Japan too.
In Japan too, yeah.
In Japan it happens all the time because probably. Maybe in a way, the language.
The sound of the language.
The sound of the language is much more similar to Italian than to English. Especially Spanish or languages from the South America. But even Japanese sounds more like Italian than English.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And like Christian mentioned, I did have the opportunity to listen yesterday morning, the Emotional Tattoos album, and it's beautiful. It's very different. So if somebody were to give you 20 records on PFM year by year, right, and they don't tell you that it's PFM, someone wouldn't know that it's the same band because there is an evolution. There are different people. This person was there, that person wasn't there, Lucio was there, and Marco, then Roberto, and so forth, and it's an evolution of what now, 50 years or so, and then it's very different. So you never know what to expect with PFM because every album is much different from the previous one and so on.
Yeah, this is what we were saying before, and it's the same for us. The very first audience of PFM is us. We are the very first audience of PFM.
I mean, we need to surprise ourselves before,
Correct.
So we have to. We are musicians. I mean, this is our first. Before to be an artist, before to be whatever, we are musicians. So we love to play, and we just want to play different things, you know. And I tell you one thing, as I said before, we did over 6,000 concerts in our career, but we never did 2 concerts the same. Never.
Right.
I never played Celebration the same way. Never. 6,000 times. I always change something. I always change maybe a note here, not there, and we all do that. So sometimes it comes great. Sometimes it could be a mistake or whatever. Nobody cares.
Sometimes it's great.
Yeah, nobody cares about it, but it gives us the joy to be on stage every night, because we always want to say, let's see what's going to happen tonight. Let's see how we're going to play. And I think this is when many times they said, what's the secret, PFM secret, you know, to be around after all these years and to be and still being playing all over the world and things like that. There's no secret. It's just the only thing is that we just have fun to be on stage. That's all. It's the only secret we have.
Yeah, and have fun, and also the other reason is that you don't have like a label behind you putting pressure on you. You need to be this kind of style. You need to be in Spanish. You need to be in English. We want to reach an audience for the people in the 40s who play like Genesis, play like Pink Floyd or whatever. So you do what you like and the way you like it. So that's the best way to.
This is what we always wanted to do, and we always did it. We never had pressure from anybody. They tried many times to, not very heavily. They tried a little bit to give us a little bit of pressure, but they would surrender immediately because they knew that we wouldn't do it, you know, anyway.
That's right.
So
anyway, the way to be happy is you have to do what you like it.
Absolutely, right. Yeah.
There's a band that's once said that, Blind Faith, do what you like. Do you remember that?
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's the main purpose of a musician. Since, you know, you start to be a musician when you're a kid, and you don't really know what's going to be your life. You know, you might get married and then have to quit playing, you know, to work or to you never know. But the only purpose you have is to have fun. This is why everybody's playing. This is why, because it's a joy to play. It's a pleasure.
It's a joy.
And when it's not anymore a pleasure to play because you have to play the same stuff every night, then it becomes the worst job in the world, because it's a job that you do with your heart, you know. And if you have to do every day the same thing with your heart, it doesn't come from your heart anymore. So it's the worst thing which can happen to us. So we never really said, oh well, this is how we want to do. It just happened like that. This is the way we are, you know. We don't work on it. It's just the way we are.
The perspiration. What do you think? There's our theory that going to explain.
There's something we always
this
say.
Theory, okay?
Yeah, we always say, you know, they always say, what's inspiration? You know, how do you do a song? How do you start playing? How does it come? You know,
Every answer.
How can you have inspiration?
That's the answer.
Well, this inspiration is just the start. It's 1%. 99% is perspiration.
Correct.
So this is the way it is. You know, you start. You have a little bit of like a match, you know, going like that, and just a little very, very sparkle. And from that sparkle,
1% inspiration, 99% perspiration.
Perspiration.
Is our
and obviously, I'm sorry.
Recipe. This is our recipe for doing a good album.
How do you say recipe in Italian? Receta in Spanish.
Ricetta.
Ricetta. Okay. Well, I suppose that behind everything is love for music. Same as me and Claudio that are having this contact with you. Fantastic chance we waited for many years. It's love for music, passion for music, what moves you till today. Sure.
We were like this all the time. And you know what's funny with PFM is that we are many of us. We were many of us in the years, you know, then PFM has changed, you know, but now we were different. Franz and myself, we're still here, but we all love music, but we all love different music. This is what's great, because each member of PFM we don't listen to the same music. We don't love the same music. Each one of us like some music, some sort of music. Personally, I love jazz or classical.